Welcome to the DFS pregame show here on RotoGrinders. I'm Jordan Cooper, aka Blender HT. Go to follow me on Twitter. And it's Monday, May 16th. And you know what we do on Mondays? It's Mondays with McCool. James McCool joins me, the co-author with me, on the Theory of Daily Fantasy Sports. It's a 15-hour audio DFS masterclass you can pick up at theoryofdfs.com. But before we get to James, make sure you give those thummy thumbs. Give me the thummy thumbs. You know, I like the hitting the like button, hit whatever. Hit whatever you want. Good morning, real life pitcher. Good morning, Suki Singh. Good morning, Peter Viles. The Hub Bros here, and Nerdy Tenors here, and Zach Hobbs and Matt Mears. Matt Mears, I got your email. Glad to hear. He binked the mini max solo in MMA.
Awesome.
With the lineup that actually was tied 5 ways in the main GPP. It wasn't the nuts, actually. No one had the nuts, right? The second nuts won in both contests, but the mini max, I could even go here. Like we have the mini max up here, right? Why not show it off, right? Is this you? Is this what it is? Span, Petrosky, Johnson, Arroyo. No. This a secondary mini max. He showed me a lineup that won like 585-48, right? So was this the nuts? It was a 47-9 lineup. Yeah, so the mini max had the nuts in it, right? It was a lineup that left 2,100 on the table. I could have sworn he showed, or maybe it was a secondary contest or something. He showed me first place. Oh, it's a smaller one. He says it in chat. Okay, the smaller mini max. So he got. We don't have that here, but. I had the second nuts. I had the third nuts, which came in second place, tied 6 ways. And I had the nuts with Alexander Rakic from the main event. If he scored over Petrosky, I would have tied 7 ways for like $21,000. Mm-hmm. But in the third round, Alexander Rakic got a leg injury and fell down, and he was done. So all the hopes and dreams, went away right there. I made money anyway, right? If you take a look at my exposures, I was like way over, like other than Petrosky, essentially I was over on everyone that won. So like this is a chart on how you could take 100 entries and be profitable, but you have to be pretty much if you can't win a lot unless you're perfect. And even if you're almost everything gets right, you're barely making money. Mm-hmm. Right? So way over on Torres, way over on Tyra. Michael Johnson, Nascimento, Arroyo, Ryan Span, right? Everything. Nope, doesn't matter. Petrosky, I had him in like 5 lineups. And he was the biggest underdog on the slate, and he beat the biggest favorite on the slate. And he didn't score that many points. That's why he almost didn't make the optimal lineup. But yeah. This is how you make money in DFS. You have to get everything right, and then you'll barely make a profit. Right? Because you have to get it perfect. Right, in order to win first place, but that was fine. So congratulations to Matt Mears. So James, what did you do over the
weekend? What did I do? We went to the.
I talk about MMA with you, but you don't play MMA DFS.
Right, I need to start playing MMA. I just haven't. I've been so busy with other things. And most of what I've been busy with is like trying to go out with family on the weekends because like, having a 1-year-old, you want to go out and let him experience some things. So we went to the Strawberry Festival this weekend, which was it sounds adorable, right? Like the Strawberry Festival just sounds like cute. There's strawberries everywhere. There's people in straw hats. There's farmers overalls. Sounds like a great time. It was not a great time. So what it actually ended up being was a lot of different like food vendors and just like clothing vendors on a hot asphalt in the middle of the street in a town that is not big enough to hold something called the Strawberry Festival. So
where were the strawberries?
That there were apparently strawberries in the morning. They sold out by the time we got there. So
there wasn't call it a festival. You might as well just call it an early morning strawberry sale with some other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was a bummer. So like we got there, it was supposed to rain. It was supposed to rain at like 1 p.m. We got there at 12:30. And there was not a cloud in the sky. It's 85 degrees. And you know how it is down in Tennessee, 85 degrees feels like 90 at least. And then you're on the asphalt and then there's those generators and it's like 100 degrees. And then me and Damascus cannot handle that. So we had to leave after like 2 hours. We were all overheating. It's not that great of a time, but then we got some pizza. That was good. Headed home. I didn't do too much outside of that. Played some baseball, DFS, of course. Was a little bit tilted by a couple different things with that. Can never guess when the right ball is going to be used. So, you get slates like yesterday where if you score 2 home runs in your lineup, you're cashing and like every single pitcher scores 20 fantasy points. Or, you have other slates where you need literally every single home run out of like 12 to end up cashing. So a little bit up and down, but I did have a cool idea for a new baseball model to be built this week. So I'm going to be kind of working on that. And the new stats that I introduced into the models have been performing really, really well. I've been posting the results overall in the Discord so that people can like kind of look and see where they should be attacking based on that new metric. So that's all cool.
What's the new metric?
It's true average. So I've been posting.
Everything else is a fake average. All the other stats are fake. So what's true average then?
Well, I explained it last week. So it's aiming to normalize BABIP and left on base rate for pitchers, so that we can get an idea of what they would be if they weren't getting lucky, right? So like obviously left on base rate and BABIP are not the only things that are contributed to luck, and they are not all luck themselves. There are some other things that go into it, like how good your infield defense is. Some pitchers can control their BABIP a little bit better. Like Kyle Hendricks has always had a BABIP underneath his average, just because he's good at controlling that kind of stuff. But I just aimed to kind of normalize those things in the same way that I normalize home run rates. And it's been really promising. It's been really strong so far. So over the last probably week and a half, it's been performing well. It looked really good over last year's sample as well when I applied it to that. So really happy about that and that addition in the models.
I have a question for you that's not related to this, but sort of related to this, only because I saw a conversation on Twitter. It wasn't in the DFS space. It was actually in like between some wrestling people that watch baseball. And I thought it was ludicrous. Ludicrous.
Yeah.
Well, I agreed with the one person that said the take, if you want to call it.
Sure.
And then people argue against him. I'm like, you people are lunatics. Do you think Yadi Molina is a lock for the Hall of Fame? Yeah, the fact that you didn't answer immediately means that you're crazy.
I'm like 80% leaning yes. I'm trying to think of other catchers that are also like Hall of Fame guys. Yeah, I'd say yes. Because
the arguments against him is that he's not offensively prolific enough.
Yeah, but I mean, he's been incredible in basically every other countable measure of a catcher forever. He's insanely good.
Right. I think he ranks one of the top 5 all time in DRS, defensive runs.
Yeah.
Like as far as a cat, you can't go by like WAR for like defensive ability, but that's like the defensive version of wins against replacement. Like he out of like he's like all time like second out of all catchers ever to be to prevent more runs than the average catcher.
Yeah. Yeah. He's and like his defensive capabilities and his longevity. I mean, there's a lot of catchers that just kind of like fall apart. And I think that most of the time, I think that longevity is kind of whatever for Hall of Fame stuff. But I think for catchers, I think it does legitimately matter because their bodies take a beating. And in order to stay as relevant and strong defensively as he has through his entire career, he's been incredible. Yeah, I think he is.
Right. Because I mean, you could just bring it up and like what, like where he's what 10-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champion, 9-time Gold Glove Award, 4-time Platinum Glove Award, Silver Slugger Award, Roberto Clemente Award, 6-time Fielding Bible Award. I mean, he has 2,100 hits, 173 home runs, played for one team for 19 years. I mean, like, how is he not a Hall of Famer?
Yeah. Yeah. And that, like I said, like 2,000 hits for a catcher. That's a lot, man. 2,000 hits for a catcher. Like, even if you're not saying that like offensively he's incredibly good, he's been so consistent and he's been so solid in every single counting metric for his entire career. He's been incredible.
Right. And even here, the defensive there's a DWAR statistic. He's led it 6 times in 6 different seasons.
And that's not just catchers. That's everyone.
He's won WAR for 2000 in 2012. He had the highest WAR.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, total WAR, right? So like,
yeah.
Right, the top 5 fielding leader as a catcher in all these categories. Nationally, top 10 batting leader, right? Because he batted 300 a couple of times, right? So like in 2012, offensive WAR, sacrifice flies, doubles, batting average, adjusted OPS, at back to strikeout ratio 8 different times, right? Because he barely ever strikes out. Like, I just thought it was ludicrous that people were arguing with this guy. That's like, I don't think Yachty's like, he's not Johnny Bench, he's not Yogi Berra, he's not.
Yeah.
And they're bringing up things, and the guy was like, but like, well, statistically, he's better than all those guys, right? Just like, oh, just because he doesn't hit because he didn't hit as many home runs. Oh, sorry that he's not a power hitter.
And like that conversation kind of gets lost a little bit too. I do think that home runs are important for certain positions, just not for catcher. I absolutely don't think it's that important for catcher.
But I mean, I think I mean, like Ozzie Smith, for instance. Ozzie Smith is a Hall of Famer, right?
Yeah. Well, okay. So here's a question then. What about Andrelton Simmons?
He's really weak hitting wise. But as far as the strike, he's one of the best. He's one of the greatest fielding shortstops ever.
Yeah.
Well, he's the guy that has the higher DRS than Yachty Molina.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So like that's kind of, those are the guys that I have a hard time with, because I think that Andrelton Simmons is a Hall of Famer, but I understand why people would say like, oh, well, he contributed nothing offensively. It's like, okay, well, he contributed everything defensively. And again, longevity matters for somebody. Like, I think he's been incredible.
Right. I mean, but his longevity, I mean, it's not that long.
No.
4-time Gold Glove Award, but he has batting average is 265, home run 70, runs batted in 437. Like, that's dramatically different than Yachty Molina.
Yeah.
173 home runs, 2,100 hits.
Yeah.
300 batting average. But I mean, if you take a look at someone like Ozzie, I like Ozzie Smith from a offensive perspective, like, is not like great. What, 262 batting average, 2,400 hits, 28 home runs, because he didn't, but he also had 580 stolen bases.
Yeah.
But I mean, 15-time All-Star, World Series champion, 13-time Gold Glove Award. I mean, right? I mean, he's in the Hall of Fame. He was a 91% first ballot Hall of Famer in 2002.
Yeah,
so, I mean, look at his stats compared to Yachty Molina. Like he wasn't a home run hitter. He only had 793 runs batted in. He didn't have the greatest batting average, but I mean, as far as shortstops are concerned, one of, if not the greatest fielding shortstop ever.
Yeah. And you have to consider that for the niche positions. Like catcher, shortstop, I think that defense is almost more important than offense. There are like some generational players that end up being able to provide both. But I do think that you have to be able to be reticent of the scarcity of the position and like how hard it is to be really, really great at those positions.
And also how much fielding matters as much as that position.
Yeah.
First base fielding, probably right field, probably right and left and right field. It's more about above replacement, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Mm-hmm. I think the best defensive put Andrelton Simmons at shortstop and then put Tim Anderson at shortstop.
Right. Yeah.
Like, dude, like the difference between that could mean like 4 or 5 wins for your team. Mm-hmm. And you know how big 4 or 5 wins just by the fielding of your shortstop, right? You have Yadi Molina and Andrelton Simmons. You could turn your 500 team into a playoff team.
Yeah, exactly.
Compared to an average, compared to that's different. Yeah. If you have Trevor Story hitting 50 home runs at shortstop, like that may make up for Andrelton Simmons batting 9th and not doing much.
Here's what you do. You get Yadier Molina at catcher, you get Andrelton Simmons at shortstop, and then you get Nolan Arenado at third base. And like nobody can even hit the ball over the left side of the field.
Well, then everyone's just going to just bat all their lefties.
That's true. Then you get a really good group of lefties for pitchers, and then you just win the World Series every year.
Right. So you'd use the shift, right? You make them right. But in those cases, all lefties, you just Simmons plays second base and Arenado plays first.
There you go.
Right.
Perfect. Yep.
Then who do you have in the outfield?
Dude, why don't teams do that?
Who says they won't?
Why don't teams like take, if there's a really strong, like if they need to switch Nolan Arenado from third to first, could they do that? Is that allowed?
Why wouldn't they? You could field anywhere the hell you want.
No, I'm asking.
The only 2 positions that are fixed are pitcher and catcher. Based on the Major League rule book. I mean, the pitcher obviously has to pitch from the mound, the rubber. I mean, like he can't go anywhere. And the catcher must be positioned in foul territory. So technically, truthfully, the catcher could just catch from anywhere. I mean, could just stand behind first base in foul territory. But of course, then the pitch comes in, then you just don't swing at it, and next thing you know, the ball, then anyone on base, they're going anywhere they want. But technically, you could do that. But I think it's more about maybe muscle memory, like the fielding from third base and fielding from first base. It's mirrors, like the mirror effect.
Yeah.
Of like you're not used to seeing the ball come off the bat the opposite way.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure anyone could play first base. Right. As far as like receiving balls, obviously first basemen are more. They train more on, the getting down, getting their legs, fielding the low balls, the high ball. Like third basemen don't have to do any of that. Yeah. That's going to be a defensive liability. You put Arenado at first. It's like, well, if it's a ground ball, like if it's in the dirt, whatever, he's not there. I mean, obviously most Major League Baseball players could do a decent job at playing first base regardless.
Yeah.
But I think it's more of that, like if you put Simmons at second base, like he's seeing the ball differently than seeing it come out from the other side of second base. Yet when they shift or anything, all Simmons will be is just playing behind the bag at second, right?
Yeah.
But still, he's going to be fielding balls more in a motion where he's coming towards first base and then making a throw, as opposed to a second baseman who fields a lot of balls the opposite way.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with some type of why wouldn't you put your best fielders in the spots where the ball is more likely to be hit, regardless of right?
I agree.
If you have a Gold Glove caliber left fielder, like why for lefties? Why wouldn't you just put him in right field?
Right. No, I agree with that.
And the right fielder ends up playing where the left fielder would normally play, straight out center or something, in case he hits the ball to the opposite side.
Yeah.
Maybe they do that. Maybe they do that, and we just don't notice. Do they? I don't know.
I don't think they do that. If they did that, I think we'd hear about it.
Right, because everyone talks about the shift, but they don't talk about like just flipping people around.
Yeah, I think that instead of left fielders and right fielders, there should just be strong side fielders and weak side fielders. And then you just play to the handedness. You just play to the platoon split.
Right. No, that makes sense. So it doesn't the actual side doesn't really even matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the same thing for infielders.
Yeah.
Right. Like, strong side and weak side infielders, because like second base and shortstop, I mean, are technically the same position on just opposite the weak side, strong side.
Yeah. And like the way that you would shift it is you would just like you have your strong side, would just like you basically have two second basemen, right? One on second base and then one leaning towards the strong side. And that's strong side is the other side, they just flip. And then now,
you know what they could do to change the rules so that it makes the shift harder?
What can they do?
Okay, they do this. They're never going to do this because this would be chaos. You make it, okay, that you could run the bags anyway. You could run the bags anyway. So, like for instance, if you hit a ground ball, you could decide to run to third, and everyone goes counterclockwise.
Oh, I love that.
Right? You could choose to be safe at third base, but the thing is that you have to hit all the bases in order to be at home. So if there's a man on if there's a man on first, it's not if the batter hits the ball, ground ball or whatever, and runs to third, he could run to second, but he can't run home because he can't score yet because he hasn't touched all three bases yet.
Yeah.
But the batter runner at least has the option now of running to first, and if he runs to first, obviously the guy from first has to go to second, but he could choose to go, I'm going to run to third. I'm going to be safe at third base. So now what happens for the next batter is that you have a guy at third that still has to touch second and first, and a guy at first that still has to touch second and third, and then we just eliminate the crossing the streams rule, right? Like if one batter goes past the next batter, because now you could run opposite ways. So now you have a guy on first and third, right? The guy on third can't come home. The guy on third has to go to second. The guy on first has to go to second, right? And now if a ball gets hit, you could get a double play at second base automatically, because the batter runner has to run to either third or first, which forces the guy from third and first to run to second. So that means you're going to get a double play either way. And if both of them are safe, both of them are at second base. You're allowed to have both runners at a base, but then they have to run in opposite directions, right? So they're running to, and you have to keep track of all of this.
Okay, so one.
Daniel Hubbins even says, what could possibly go wrong? Why can't
this is massively dangerous. It's incredibly dangerous. I love the idea.
Imagine a play at the plate between a batter that got a triple to first and another batter that's now on third, and they're both running home because they both touch the bags, and it's a sac fly, right? It's a sac fly, one out, sac fly to deep, right field, and it's cannon arm, right? You got Jose Bautista out there, whatever, cannon home, and now you have two runners. The catcher can get 2 outs on the sac fly, or they can score 2 runs at a time, or they could just be a really big collision at the plate.
Yeah, and then they die.
It sounds more fun than current baseball.
Okay, so
anything sounds. Have you watched?
I think that it is. I love of a batter being able to choose which way they run. I would avoid the chaos of what you just put into play and just say
it's not chaos, because I'm putting a stake in the sand. I'm putting a line down. He can't run to second, at least, so he can't barrel over the pitcher and run directly from home to second. Obviously, it's 120. You wouldn't want to do that. That's the long way to go. But you have to at least run the diamond. You can't just
run. That's the thing that removes the chaos, not the possibility of
removes the chaos.
Very large athletes running face first into each other at second and or home.
Or first, right? A guy that's on second currently, right? A guy that's on second currently who went to third first has to run to first base. But the batter strategically should be running to second, because if he starts running to first, then he's going to interfere with the guy running from second to first, So he should be going to third. So there's an extra amount of strategy. We're expecting him to run to third, but maybe they throw us off and he runs to first. But you have to get the force out. And you obviously have a rule or something that once you start running in one direction, you have to complete your run. You can't just look, I'm going to fake to first and then go to third, because that we'll call that the batter runner balk. And then he's automatically out if he balks.
Yeah.
This is so much more entertaining than the current.
No, this is good. I like where we're going with this. Okay, so here's my proposition. Just to avoid people running into each other and tearing every single ACL on a team, I think that so at the beginning, if there's nobody on bases, the person who gets a hit gets to choose which way the bases run. Right. So it's either clockwise or counterclockwise, right?
Once he's on base, then it has to stay that way. Exactly.
So then everybody has to follow him. So that's where the strategy part comes in, right? Is like, now we're going to take care of the shift. Like shift you can't even do anything about the shift anymore, because if the dude decides to run to third instead, now the bases run clockwise, but then the next batter, where they have to go. So then the next batter, now you can play the shift if you need to. Now there's a person already on base and you know which way the bases run.
Right, but in that case, you're going to always need at least one fielder on the opposite side of the shift.
Yes, you will. Yep.
Right, because if it's a right-handed batter and everyone's shifting towards left field, then that batter should be running. Really, the batter runner should be running. That first batter runner is based on the handedness of the next batter.
There you go.
Right, because it's like, well, if a righty is up next after him, he should run to first to make sure that there's a first baseman there.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. But if the batter is left-handed, he should be running to third. So the third baseman has to be there for pickoffs and, for it to field anything. The left-handed batter, at least make sure that there's a guy that's basically out of, he's never going to hit the ball unless he's really behind down the left field line as a lefty.
And when you add this with our rule of strong side and weak side players on the defense, now you have the other piece of this where you have to consider both the handedness of the person behind you so that you can put the shift on the other side, and you're forcing the strong side player over to the side with the shift so it's easier to steal bases for the person on base. Jordan, this is a good idea. We need to email somebody about this. This is solid.
No, but I like it better if they could do it at any time.
I agree.
And then to just run past, and then you have to, they would have to show on the screen kind of like this person has already conquered one base, this one has conquered second, and the arrows, you have to highlight the runners like the NHL did with the puck or something.
Yeah.
Right? Let's make it more interesting.
Yeah, but also, and then everybody would just be so injured. The team.
No, it would make the value guys like Andrelton Simmons and Yadi Molina way more valuable.
Yeah, and it would also make people who have a team that survives the entire season much more valuable than other teams too.
You increase the roster size.
Just imagine the Yankees with this rule, right? Where they have these giant ass outfielders. You got Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge both sitting on first and third. They're going opposite directions. Those dudes can't dodge each other. Like that's gonna be a train wreck at second base every time. You'd have to fill your team with a bunch of Jose Altuve's, little dudes with a little bit of power, but not much, and enough like shiftiness to be able to dodge each other coming around second and coming back to home.
In addition to this, we keep it this way, but we add, for extra added excitement, that the batters can also use their bats while running. But we'll make it clear that you're only allowed one bat on the bases at a time.
Let's make it clear that you're only allowed to use the bat once when you're going around. So you don't know that the defense now has to not only consider strong side, weak side. They not only have to consider the shift that they're going towards, but now they have to think about which one of them is going to get whacked in the knee by a bat.
No, that's not. No, I didn't want injuries. That's not what I meant by using the bat. I meant using the bat like in the field.
At any point, if you
they can hit the ball with the bat on a fielded ball, on a thrown ball.
At any point you say they get to use the bat. No.
Right, but they can't hit someone else with it. I get the
That's not
point.
the
We have to reduce the violence somehow. We have to. But let's say, for instance, that a guy's on first base
Mhm.
leading off with the bat, and the pitcher goes for a pickoff. He could stick out the bat, right, and hit the ball with the bat. And if he hits the ball with the bat, it's like the batter runner hit the ball with the bat. So now the batter could run. So that counts as a batted ball.
Does that
He
count?
can hit a home run off a pickoff. We could have a 2-run home run off a pickoff.
Does that
Or
count
it could be a
his
fly
out?
ball. Let's say it's an infield fly ball. It's way up in the air. But you got a guy at second base that has a bat in his hand. While the shortstop's going up, he's over there waiting. He's waiting because he's gonna hit that ball up. He's 400 yards. So it's a double batted ball, but he's allowed to do it, and then he gets credited with the home run right there.
Did you just say 400 yards, Jordan?
Or whatever amount of distance.
1,200 feet.
He could hit the ball foul. He could say, I'm going to hit the ball foul so that my batter can still get up again, right? Like, he has the use of a bat in the field, but he can't hit the guy. I don't know how that's going to work with a guy looking up trying to feel the ball and another guy with a bat ready to hit it. But he's going to have to be very careful because he hits the guy. If he hits the fielder, he's automatically out. We have to have some type of rational. We don't want people getting killed.
Okay. All right.
Wooden bats and heads, right? This would be so much more entertaining. I would watch this even without DFS.
This just sounds like rugby with extra steps.
What's wrong with this idea? How can this not end up being the most popular sport in the country?
There's at least 5 things wrong with this idea. Maybe 6, maybe 7. The most wrong thing with this is the use of bats in the outfield. We'll
make it so the guy that uses it still has to stay within the base paths.
How about we make it so
then it would be chaos. Like if the ball's a fly ball, it's a lazy fly ball to center field, and all of a sudden the guy from first base is running out into center field trying to hit the ball again. Like you have to be within the base paths at least.
Here, okay.
Doesn't happen all the time. We don't have it's base. Imagine it being bases loaded. There are 4 people with bats on the field, right? Because you have the batter and the 3, right? And the guy and it's a light hit. It's Andrelton Simmons is up at the plate and he doesn't hit the ball far. So he's looking for a bunt, but he doesn't want to bunt the ball down. He wants to bunt the ball high in the air. So his 3 base runners have the opportunity to hit him a home run because now who are you going to cover, right? You're going to need people like cornerbacks and because people are going to have to cover. The fielders are not going to have to field the ball. They're also going to have to cover. And we're going to allow this, okay, to make sure that at least the fielders have some type of competitive advantage. They're allowed to block the runners, right? If the runner has shown that they're not attempting to advance to the next base and they're looking to hit the ball again, that you could have the second base and shortstop could block them from doing so. So you'll have like football-like plays where the infield. So if there's a fly ball in the short infield, in the short outfield, like basically you have like the second baseman has to block the runner from first base with the bat. Then the shortstop has to block. They have to block the runners so that the center fielder could catch the ball because they don't want the guys to come out to hit the ball again.
Are they allowed to tackle them?
No, you can't tackle. You can block, just like the screen, like in NBA.
Yeah.
You can stand there and go like, create a because you could do that because we have the rule that the runners can't leave the base paths. So it's not like they have to run all over the place. All they have to do is stand in the base paths. As long as, but the runners concede, they could cede their advantage of trying to go after to hit the ball again if they drop their bat. Like, so if they drop their bat in the base path, that means now the fielder can't block. It'll be obstruction because now they've made it clear that they're trying to attempt to go to the next bag, but with the bat in their hand, basically they're not entitled to the base path. If you have the bat in your hand, you could be you could be obstructed by a fielder, but you drop the bat, right? On your way from first to second. Like if you're stealing second base, you don't steal it with the bat in your hand because then obviously the shortstop or second baseman will block you from the bag because that would be legal.
Do
because
you
have
get
the
back
bat, but you can drop the bat and then steal second base.
Do you get back the bat if you have a successful
Yeah,
steal?
yeah, you get back the bat.
No, I think you should. I think that if
But
you
once you drop the bat, you lose the bat.
yeah.
You don't think
that's
that would be a
cool.
little too complicated?
No. For this, no.
Now we're getting to the point of stupidity. Now it's a little too complicated.
I was gonna say, what if you get to choose when you get onto the base if you're gonna have a bat or if you're gonna have a glove? And if you have a glove, you can catch the pickoff, and it counts as an automatic steal.
Yeah, but that doesn't promote any more like running and stuff happening.
I think I think that it adds another layer of strategy, though.
That whether or not you're going to field the ball.
Yeah, because then now you don't have the other part where somebody is standing in the base path. Like if somebody has a glove, they're free to steal. They're also free to catch, but they don't have the bat, so you can't block them. You can't obstruct them anymore. So now you have a difference of like, if you have, say, a guy who is, you have Andrelton Simmons up the plate, right? Or you have like a weak righty who is going to like ground out to first or something like that. The person on first base can choose to have a glove. And if he catches it, then it counts as a single instead of an out. And then they both advance their pass.
I don't like the automatic counting. I think it's more, I would more be inclined to, if you're going to allow gloves with the runners having gloves, that they can catch the ball and then throw it anywhere they want.
Yeah, but then you could just catch the ball and just run with the ball.
No, but maybe we have a rule, like traveling in basketball, right? You can only go 3 steps. You can't go more than 2.5 steps with the ball.
Okay.
Incorporate that in, right?
You can catch it and then you can just throw it as far as you want in the out.
Right. You can throw it anywhere you want. Right. Of course, anywhere.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
But no. Maybe you could only throw, but it has to land in fair territory. Because then people would catch the ball and throw it into the stands, and that wouldn't be exciting. We need people running around, like a chicken without their head, trying to field the ball. So basically, we could end up happening. What ends up happening is that on a pickoff attempt, the runner catches the ball, throws it, and it ends up going there actually is a foul ball call on a pickoff. Because those rules would apply also with the guys with the bat also. So like if you have one guy with a glove and one guy with a bat, if he hits the ball, if the ball is put into play and then he hits the ball and it goes foul, then it's a foul ball. And
what if somebody catches it with the glove and throws in the outfield and it's caught? Is that an out?
Maybe we should make that's an out. That's an out. The batter is out.
Right? Yeah. Okay. This is good. Yeah.
Or what could happen?
This is gonna be like
what we could do, James, strategically, if let's say you have a runner on base with a glove and runner on base with a bat, in a perfect strategy, wouldn't the purpose be for the runner to catch the ball, even in the field, the batted ball, and then be able to slowly pitch the ball to his teammate with the bat and then hit a home run that way? Because obviously the guy's not going to throw sliders or anything. He's going to obviously.
Yeah, there it is.
Right.
Yeah.
He's on first. Perfect. His teammate's on third. It's like, I'm going to catch the ball. I'm going to throw it over to you very softly. And you're going to obviously you're going to swing the bat. Hopefully that someone from the opposite team isn't trying to get the ball back at the time. Right. Because then his head gets knocked off and then you try to hit the home run. And then if they hit the home run, that the batter gets credited with the home run. So the official scoring is going to be a mess. So for DFS purposes, the more bats and gloves that are in the field, the better it is for your batter.
Yeah.
And then you get assists, right? So if you were the bat, if you were on third with the bat and hit the ball out, it's credited as a home run for the batter, and for the runner, it's like it's a run hit in, right? An RHI or something like that.
No. I think for DFS, it's way funnier if the person that throws him the ball, if his own teammate throws him the ball and it's a home run, that it counts as negative points.
Right. It's an earned run against them.
I think that's way funnier. That's way cooler for DFS.
Okay. It seems like have we lost the entire chat at this point? Just title this "How We Fix Baseball." Right? This is what we do on Mondays, by the way. People are tuning in on Mondays going, "Oh, are we going to play?" Oh, okay. Here's the quick rundown on tonight's MLB slate on DraftKings. Everyone in Coors is underpriced by
and Wade Miley is 4.4K.
Right, and Wade Miley is 4,400. So there there's the chalk. Welcome to Chalk City. right? DraftKings forgot that Coors exists. The Giants are underpriced. The Rockies are underpriced. And Wade Miley is going to pitch probably 85 to 90 pitches against the Pirates for 4,400. So, like, welcome to, I mean, obviously, to me, that's a signal of, okay, these are the people I'm not playing on an 11-game slate. But from a value perspective, those are the, if you tune in later to Grinders Live, 5 o'clock, crunch time, 6:30, right? Free on the YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell to know when we go live. That's what they're going to say. It's going to be the Coors and Wade Miley. Okay.
Yeah. And so I'm stacking the Pirates. That's all it is.
Against Wade Miley.
Stacking
against Wade Miley never works. I've done that for 4 years.
But in large field, like 4,400, if he's 40% owned on 11-game slate, like just stack the Pirates and the Rockies and then just go for it.
Right.
That's all.
I'm just saying in general, Wade Miley always seems like the type of pitcher you should stack against, and then just never gets blown up.
It's 50% ground ball rate, right? Like,
well, he used to. I mean, I don't know what he is now.
Yeah, that's true. Hold on. Let me run my true average to see what he's at.
You can't just do it for this year. He's only had one start.
I know that.
So what are you going to do? You're going to run multiple years?
Well, I'm doing it for this year because I don't have the full year data on him.
But you have one game. What the hell are you going to do with one game?
I don't. No. I don't even. He's not even in the sample. It's just.
He has 3 innings pitched. That's all he has.
He doesn't even have enough to be in the sample.
Right. So he had 5 walks. So I mean, that's not good.
The pitcher right now with the highest true average for today is Madison Bumgarner.
That sounds like you need to go back to the drawing board. if you're the best pitcher on the slate is Madison Bumgarner,
no, the worst. The worst.
Oh, I think
highest
the best.
True average. No,
I think
the highest true average. 275 for Madison Bumgarner.
Okay, because this is a pitcher stack.
Yeah.
It sounds like highest means best, but no, it's the highest pitcher stack.
Yeah. So it's the top 3 in highest true average are Madison Bumgarner at 275, Chris Archer at 273, and Brad Keller at 272.
Okay. But basically guys that give up a lot of hard contact.
Hard contact and are just like really lucky in the BABIP and left on base rates.
Right. And also don't strike out many people.
Yeah.
Right.
The best
compared to like a Kikuchi or Severino. I mean, Archer strikes out a bunch of people, but he also walks a ton. He also gives up a ton of hard contact.
Yeah. The best right now is Freddie Peralta.
Right. Well, that makes sense. He's also the highest projected. Is he the highest in the bat? No, he's actually not the highest projected in the bat. Severino is. He's one of the top projected.
The bat has always loved Severino.
Well, because he's a good pitcher.
He's a good pitcher. I agree. But like it loved him even when people thought that he was trash. Like Cardi died on the hill of calling him a top 5 pitcher in the league like 2 years ago or something like that.
But how many earned runs would be given up if the runners on base had bats and balls? And
I mean, Severino's a big boy, so he probably doesn't have much dexterity to stop these guys.
Right. Any other ways to fix baseball?
No, I think we nailed it. I think that I mean, of all the absolutely wacky ideas that we just came up with, the realistic one of being able to have strong side and weak side guys, I think that's a really cool idea.
But I mean, put it in the rules of how many you're allowed. You mean?
Sure. Yeah.
We're just talking about like instead of calling them, these are just labels. But I mean, rules wise, you're like, oh, we're going to call it strong side and weak side, but you're only allowed to have 6 players on the strong side of the field.
Yeah, and that's how you do that, and then teams. I'm surprised if there's nothing against in the rule books. I'm surprised that teams don't already designate outfielders to the strong and weak side based on the platoon of the hitter. I'm genuinely surprised that doesn't happen. And if it does, somebody please correct me. I'm surprised that it does.
Right, because it would make sense that it's like if your best fielder is in left field, like, or your best fielder is in center field, it's like just put whatever outfielder in the spot that the batter is going to hit the ball the most, and your weakest outfielder in the spot, no matter if it's left or right or center, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, like if you know, and like teams have this data, if there's a right-handed hitter up there and he has a pull rate of like 60% or something like that, and you're not putting the best fielder that you have out there in left field, why wouldn't you? I don't.
Right. If the right fielder's a Gold Glove winner, like just put him in left.
Yeah. For that at bat, and then just switch him back. Like there's time between at bats. It's not like it would be like this drastically difficult thing to pull off of having two guys switch sides of the field. It's not that far.
Right.
So I'm genuinely.
You have to assume they do that,
but they don't.
Well, maybe they do, and we just don't know. Because it makes too much sense for. I mean, just intuitively. Or unless are there outfielders that are that bad that you need to do that? I would think on no, James. I would think on sac flies they have to definitely do that, right?
You would think so.
Like on a sac fly, like if you have a left-handed hitter, and there's a guy on third with less than 2 outs, like you would want that not your best fielder in right field, you would want your best outfield arm in right field, right? Because if they're going to pull the ball and hit a fly ball into right field, you're going to want to try to nail the guy at the plate on the sac fly. If the natural right fielder has a much weaker arm than your natural left fielder, why wouldn't you switch
them? I can't
we just solve that. We just create the holy grail. Why aren't teams doing this? There has to be now, James. I'm thinking like this is the way that my brain works. Is that I automatically assume that this is Major League Baseball. Maybe I'm assuming wrong. That this seems too obvious that there has to be a reason why they do. There has to be a good reason why they don't do it. But I've also watched NFL football and wondered why they run the ball 48 times and punt on 4th and 1 on the 36. So like maybe the people in charge of these teams are actually much stupider than I give them credit for.
Remember last week when I was talking about my theory on what's happening with the balls, and I said that what I think is happening is that the MLB is too inept and too stupid to actually orchestrate them having different balls for different games, and you said that's what makes it more believable.
Right.
There was a while there, like this happened probably late last year. So I do models for every sport, right? And I always talk about how stupid I think NFL coaches are. Like I just think that they do things that are just so dumb so often, and like I can't watch NFL because of that. Because when I watch games, I'm like, why are you doing this? This is just brain dead. I always talk down on NFL coaches, but for some reason I had this bias in my head of like, oh, for League of Legends, like the coaches and the players know what they're doing when it comes to drafting, and like I gave them all the leeway in the world. And I was like, well, there has to be a reason they're doing this. There has to be a reason they're doing this. And then finally, somebody in my community was like, yo, you say that NFL coaches are wrong all the time about the decisions that they make. So why don't you do the same thing for League of Legends coaches? And it just like slapped me in the face that nobody knows what they're doing in terms of like making optimal decisions. Like it does not matter what sport.
Or just that at every sport they're behind. Like whatever was common knowledge 10 years ago or something, they're still relying on that. And they haven't adapted.
Right.
Yeah. Because people in the chat are like, is it legal? It's like there's like you could position the players anywhere you want other than catcher and pitcher. There's no designations in the rule book of what the positions are.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to have a shortstop. What is a shortstop? It's a player that is in between third and second base. But they could shortstop could the guy that is marked shortstop, they could play anywhere they want. I mean, like these are just arbitrary designations. The only two positions are pitcher and catcher that have to be in a certain spot. And like I said with the catcher, just doesn't be in foul territory. He technically doesn't have to be behind the mound. And I say this obviously. I've not umpired in probably 17 years or something like that. But as of the Major League Baseball rule book 17 years ago, unless something has, I don't know why they would change anything there.
Let's not give much credit to the MLB of changing rules.
No. Every year they come out with umpire interpretations. and stuff like that.
Okay.
And they do change wordings for they'll change a may to a shall. Like it's very legally, like the rule book, you have to interpret it very like in legalese ways.
Sure.
But that's what, like, as of like when I was like 25, 26 years old. But I mean, but I umpired for what, 8 years, 9 years. I mean, I don't want to use the appeal to authority argument, but like I know the Major League Baseball rule book probably better than probably almost as well as Major League Baseball umpires.
Sure.
And they know it extremely well.
Yeah, I can't give benefit of the doubt to MLB coaches or the league.
It's Tony La Russa thinking about that.
No, there's no way, right? There's no way. It's Dave Roberts thinking about this. No, absolutely not. Although
Joe Maddon's probably thinking about it and then doing the wrong thing.
I was gonna say Joe Maddon or Dave Roberts, like they are the guys who I would think would maybe be weirdo enough to go ahead and just like give it a shot. But
they'd stumble up. They'd end up stumbling upon it after doing 4 other things wrong.
Yeah, and then they would say that's what they were trying to get to all along, and it would work out for them because their teams are so good. Anyway,
people in the chat are. Someone even pointed out that even the pitcher could go play shortstop for a batter. Right, but it has to be for a batter. And and yes, they can come back. They can't, like, people look up the rules. It's that they're there for a reason. So, for instance, like Albert Pujols yesterday pitched, right?
Yeah.
For the Cardinals. Like you could have your pitcher like play first base for a batter and have your first baseman pitch to that batter. But the key point that I said is to the batter. You can't come in for one pitch. Once they pitch one pitch to a batter, the pitcher that pitcher must complete for the batter or be replaced, right? And you're not going to replace your first baseman with a relief pitcher and now have a pitcher playing first base also, right? So you're not going to. So you're able to get the guy. If he injures himself, I lay in my arm, I have to come out of the game. Most likely, what you're going to do is you're going to do a double switch. You're going to switch out the first baseman, who's then going to come into pitch. Obviously, you never see stuff like that because pitcher is a specialized position that other fielders don't train in, so they don't. Unless Brett Phillips comes in for the last inning and gives up 17 home runs, that type of stuff doesn't happen. But yeah. So people are going with the rule. That's why. Why do you think I said? Like, I know it's not. The rules don't prevent them from doing that. I just figure there got to be people that are smart enough. Like, why wouldn't you? If you have a cannon, Gold Glove fielding right fielder, like, why isn't he in left field in situations where you may have to throw to the plate for a right-handed batter?
Right. That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why they wouldn't do that. I really don't.
And Eric points out the 3-batter rule. Yeah, well, the 3-batter rule, that's newer.
Yeah.
I don't know how the 3-batter rule affects that. Now, like I'm saying, I'm mentioning a rule that, from 2007. Because obviously, to speed up the game, they've introduced these pitcher must pitch to 3 batters and all that. But if he gets injured, then you could do this or something, like all that type of stuff came in afterwards. So I don't know how that relates to it, but it doesn't prevent fielders from moving around anywhere they want. In the rule book, there's no such thing as a second baseman. There's just a fielder, right? So it's just, these are arbitrary labels that have just been around for 130, 140 years.
Man, the pitchers for that are bad. Yeah, I don't think that teams are doing it because I think they're not very smart. But
then in DFS, the good thing about the strong side, weak side thing, we changed the names of the positions, then we won't have to then we could start stacking teams without caring about there would be catchers, there would be pitchers, there would be infielders, and there would be outfielders.
Yeah.
Then we don't have to worry about playing, there's no shortstops on the slate. It's like, well, there's no shortstops anymore anyway.
Yeah.
So we play 8 batters. We have to play 4 infielders and 4 outfielders, right?
Just please, like, if DraftKings or FanDuel are listening to this, Yahoo, you can do whatever you want. I don't like your site anyway, but like if DraftKings or FanDuel end up implementing something like that, please just make it infield and outfield and not multi-positional eligibility for everyone.
Well, someone is outfield and infield, right? It's
I
like,
don't
well,
want to
what was
have
the
to
point?
deal with somebody who has second base, third base, outfield, shortstop eligibility. That sounds like
Right. Well,
hell.
if you do outfield, infield, then you just make it so they're only infielders, only outfielders, and that's it.
That's fine.
You
Do
just
it.
need
Go
4
for it.
infielders and 4 outfielders. And
That
then
sounds
do
great.
or whatever.
Somebody with a site, somebody go do that. I'm
Right.
fine with that.
And then you don't have to worry about positional anything. Then you just, you know, if a team has 2 first basemen, you're like, it's hard to stack this team. They bat in order. It's like, who cares? You could roster 2 first basemen. Who cares?
Right.
Those positions don't matter anymore.
Or like teams that literally don't have a shortstop available on the slate,
Right.
which is annoying. But like then, because right now with DFS, if you have a team that literally does not have a shortstop available for the slate, like I think 2 days ago, I tried to stack, I don't know, maybe it was the Angels who didn't have a shortstop available in DFS, like on DraftKings. So you have to pair them with, or you have to one off the shortstop. But if you're going to try to stack 2 teams, you have to pair them with a shortstop team. And then like, you don't want to do it with a team that has a terrible shortstop that doesn't have any offensive capabilities, like an Andrelton Simmons or something like that. Then you have to focus on pairing them with a team that has a shortstop that can do something, and then it just limits a lot of what you can do. But you know, this isn't a show about DFS. It's a show about us fixing baseball.
Well, we want to fix MLB DFS also. We want to fix MLB and MLB DFS, and then maybe I'll possibly watch more than 3 games in an entire season.
Yeah,
in total, bits and pieces,
And-
not even the full game. Just between the clips on Twitter, I may end up watching a grand total of 3 games.
yeah. No, I mean, I might watch playoffs, but because of blackout restrictions and everything like that, like it's not like I could watch game if I wanted to anyway.
So James Paydirt_DFS on Twitter, PaydirtDFS.com. If you want DFS strategy advice, the best place to get it is the Theory of Daily Fantasy Sports. It's a 15-hour audio DFS masterclass with me and James. We talk you through everything, right? Normally the show, we talk about DFS strategy, but Mondays could be about who knows what, right? It was entertaining at least, right?
Fixing baseball, yeah.
Right. But if you want a nice 15 hours, it's like going to a little seminar, right? Like a 2-day seminar on, you know, how all the game theory in DFS works, whether you play MLB, NFL, NBA, doesn't matter the sport. So go check that out, theoryofdfs.com. As always, you could sign up for RotoGrinders Premium. Click on that link in the description, get $10 off your first month. Our next group coaching call for the Blenders Game Theory channel for premium members is Thursday night. Again, 8 o'clock Eastern. So if you join, you'll see a link in there. You could get private coaching from me in a little group setting. We always have interesting conversations. People share their screens, go through, you know, they go through models, they go through simulation processes, they go through lineup building, everything. So there's a lot to learn, even if you're not there to ask questions or, you know, get private coaching. You could watch and learn. So check that out. We got live locks on the Scores and Odds channel, 2 o'clock Eastern with Grant. Grinders live 5 o'clock for the big 11 game. Coors is 2 underpriced, and Wade Miley's going to be chalk slate tonight. Crunch time right after that is free, presented by FanDuel. So subscribe, click that notification bell to know when those shows go live, and I'll be talking to you tomorrow, going through some DFS strategy, answering your questions as I normally do on the DFS pregame show on RotoGrinders.com.